Hello friends and welcome to Garden with Creekside. Late spring is when the cottage garden begins to shift in seasons. We've got perennials that have already finished their first flush of blooms. Some plants are really happy and are starting to take over their neighbors. Some poor plants are getting eaten up by the bunnies. So today what I'm going to share with you are those little maintenance tasks in the cottage garden that keep this space looking lush and beautiful, not chaotic, all season long. Come join me. The cottage garden is lush and beautiful, but there are some maintenance tasks that we need to take care of. I absolutely adore my Amsonia hubrichtii, a native perennial. But as you can see with the rain we've gotten lately, she's gotten floppy and is starting to smother her neighbors. We're going to take care of that. Also, we have got some gorgeous penstemons. They're at the end of their bloom cycle. So what we're going to do is take care of those so that they can be well prepared to flush out again and give us more blooms for those pollinators. Also, my lemon meringue Baptisia, y'all, she is a long-lived beauty in this space, but she too needs to have a little haircut so that her neighbors can breathe and get some more sunshine. You may not know that you can prune your Baptisia and your Amsonia to give you beautiful, thick, lush foliage for the remainder of the season that does not take over the rest of the garden. And then, my friends, if you have been following us, you know that I deal with rabbits here in our gardens. We don't have deer, but I do have quite the abundance of bunnies. So what we're going to do is take care and protect some of the plants. You can see I have got cloches on some of them. They've bounced back, but now the rabbits have moved on to some other plants. So we are going to have some fun here in the garden so that this space can continue to grow, bloom, and thrive and look beautiful and organized and not chaotic and cluttered for the rest of the season. My friends, I absolutely love and adore this Amsonia hubrichtii. So this is one of those, if you want to call them traditional native plants, non-branded, and it is an absolutely beautiful spring bloomer, early spring, true blue flowers on it. It absolutely glows in the garden. The quote problem with the Amsonia is that as it finishes blooming, it puts on tons of beautiful new growth. And then when you have rain or maybe some wind like we have had the past couple of days, it gets heavy and it lays down. And so then it begins to smother the plants around it. So I did not know this until a couple of years ago that you can actually go ahead and cut back your Amsonia. I'm gonna do it pretty severe, probably at least by half. And it will not flush out flowers again, but what it will do is put out new growth and get nice and tight because it is a beautiful architectural piece in the garden, super soft, very much like that grass-like kind of texture to it, moves in the garden. And then of course, Amsonia we love because in the fall, it turns this golden orange color, stunning. Now, I do have this big clump here. I also have this exact Amsonia in a different spot that is a much larger bed, of fewer plants in it. I'm not going to trim it. It is perfectly fine where it is. So that is being a student of your own garden and understanding that in this space, at this point in the season, I need to prune it. Two ways you can do it. One, you can get your hand clippers and you can just, with your little hand pruners, and go through and cut it. My son, Jackson, he does know that I enjoy a good tool, and he is a lover of tools as well. So a couple of years ago, he gave me this little steel trimmer. Has two different attachments to it, and so I am going to use my little automated trimmer on this. Amsonia will emit a creamy, like milky sap when you cut it. It's sticky. It can be irritating to your skin if you have sensitive skin. So of course I always wear gloves. So I'm gonna have my gloves on, but just know that if you do have sensitive skin, maybe pull down your sleeves and try to avoid getting the sap on it. And then we will clean the pruners afterwards because it could gunk up the pruners. Same thing with your handheld trimmers. So yeah, super easy, y'all. We're just gonna grab it and cut. Immediately. The difference is huge. My plants around the Amsonia can breathe and be happy. So you can see that that white milky sap that I was talking about, how it is coming out. Again, I personally don't have any problems with it other than it is just sticky. The plant, of course, will stop producing that sap once it seals itself off. Does not hurt the plant. It helps the plant nice and behave. This will flush out. It will not bloom again, but it'll give nice, tight foliage that, of course, will still turn really kind of that yellow that you see, the needles that have fallen. That's the color that it will turn in the fall. It is stunning. So now my Mini Vista Hot Pinks can breathe a little bit better. The edge of the Super Bell's yellow. And then I almost lost my Nepeta here. So you can see that just in those couple of days of the rain with the Amsonia spilling over on top of it, it was smothering that, and so it'll bounce back. It looks rough now. It is okay. And then, of course, the Hello Yellow Butterfly Weed will get to have nice lots of sun now as well. Now, essentially, what we're going to do to the Baptisia is the exact same thing. I personally, like, you could totally use electric hand trimmers, like the long ones. It just makes a big mess. So I like to kind of grab handfuls at a time, and then that way, for me, it's just easier on the cleanup. But we're going to prune this back again. That way, all of its neighbors can have plenty of room to get the sunshine in there, because again, Baptisia, she had her moment. She was stunning. She was gorgeous. Now I'm just using her as a structure here in the garden, so we're going to reduce her size just a bit. right, there you go. As easy as that. The lemon meringue Baptisia has been pruned as well. I was kind of paying a little bit more attention to trying to take more of the height off the sides than really the top, because obviously I don't really care how tall it is. It's not going to interfere with anything, but I want to make sure that the width wise is okay, because I have got a phlox right here that has not bloomed yet. Of course, I have my Fire Chief arborvitae that I want to make sure stays nice and rounded and not too terribly lopsided. The Penstemons, we're getting ready to trim those, but still I need the sunlight to get all around that so that they can rebloom. And then, of course, my phenomenal lavender. You can see she's a little stretched to the right because she was seeking the sun. Now she'll be able to fill out and get nice and full all over. I do have another lemon meringue on the very end on the other side of the cottage garden, so I went ahead and got that one pruned back as well. Next up is the Penstemon. We're going to take care of this. It is going to make a huge difference. There's just a few of the blooms left on there, but I am here, so we're going to go ahead and take care of this now. May even go ahead and do the Nepeta as well. As a little side note, this is just a little bit of a soapbox / educational moment, if you will. But we get a lot of folks either at the garden center or just talking to folks in general who say, you know, I want to only plant perennials because they're a whole lot less maintenance. And that is a true and a false statement all at the same time. It is true in the fact of you plant the perennial one time and it will last you for 2 or more years, right? So in that aspect, it is easier. You're not having to replant the same plant every single year. However, it is not maintenance free. no garden is maintenance free. So you still have to come in here, do those little edits. You got to fertilize, you got to prune, you got to keep your eyes out for critters that may be eating the plants, whether that is a four-legged creature or a little flying insect, right? So we still have to come in here and take care of the plants so that our gardens can grow, bloom, and thrive. So just because it's a perennial, don't think that it's zero maintenance. It is not. But in that aspect, it can be a little bit easier, but my goodness, all of it is worth the work. So next we're going to do the penstemons. Super simple, but I'm going to show you up close how to do it so that way the plant doesn't look scalped. We're not going to use the electric pruners. We're going to use our little handheld pruners. If you were looking to add a fantastic, gorgeous, flowering perennial to your garden that attracts the pollinators, Penstemon is going to be the one for you. Now, it comes in a range of colors, bloom colors, foliage colors, you name it, but they have that in common is they have upright blooms on them. Pollinators go nuts over them, full sun, of course, and they are beautiful. They will rebloom. Their main flush of flowers is going to be in the spring, but they will continue to send up new spikes. So this is why we want to go ahead and deadhead the plants. It is super simple, y'all. If I can try to get in here and show you, I'm gonna give you an up close. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to find those spikes where the flowers were, and we're gonna go in and we're going to cut them off. Now, I try my best to go ahead and cut right above 2 leaf nodes. That way it'll branch out and give us a nice thick plant. We do not want to scalp the plant. I suppose you could come through here if you wanted to with your electric pruners, but at that point, in my opinion, you're gonna risk cutting off a lot of your foliage. Now, at this point, you may say, well, they look awful floppy. Well, they're floppy because we've had some good torrential downpours here in the past couple of days. And this gardener is not going to complain about that one bit. So this is why, again, we want to come in. We're at the end of the bloom cycle. Let's go in here and clean up the plant. It'll make a huge difference. Okay, my friends, so I have done all of the pruning that needs to be done. Let's do a quick little review, and then we're going to address the rabbit in the garden. We are. I don't know if you can tell, but I can certainly tell a difference, and it just makes the garden breathe so much easier having the Amsonia, the Baptisia, the Penstemons, all of those pruned back. It makes a huge difference. That's what's so fun about a cottage garden. And honestly, it doesn't have to be a cottage garden, but a well-planned garden, because you have that beautiful succession of plants that come into their peak at different times. The early spring, it was all about that beautiful blue Amsonia shining in all of her glory, the yellow Baptisia. Then we moved into the Penstemon. I have both pink pearls and rose rhinestones in here. Stunning. And now you can see that the daylilies are about to begin blooming, as are the Stokes asters. Of course, we have the salvia in here. It is a continuous bloomer. The butterfly bushes are about to come into their own. This is the butterfly candy, the little grape. We have got buds all over it, so pretty soon they're going to be blooming. The rudbeckia, of course, is kind of come in. Later on, the Nephofia. So all of those things, right, they're going to turn over and allow the different plants to shine. But especially like because I had this huge section right here of the Penstemons, now you can really see that the salvia is in her glory. You can see the hummingbird's lunch kufia is getting nice and big. Of course, the phenomenal lavender is about to be in full glory. So that is what is so fun about these cottage gardens. Well planned is that you have that beautiful succession of flowers. Now, generally speaking, with your flowering perennials, once they are finished flowering, you can go ahead and deadhead them. So I didn't show it to you specifically, but I did go ahead and I pruned back the Nepeta. That's the cat's walk queen. Went ahead and gave her a little prune. My Gaillardia, so I had the spin top. I got 3 different ones, the spin top, red, mango, and then the bicolor one. So I went ahead and deadheaded those. The Gaillardia, they're continuous bloomers, and then go ahead and deadheading them just encourages tons of more flowers. So that's wonderful. And then I had a peony in here that needed to be deadheaded. Went ahead and deadheaded that. It's not going to bloom again, but it makes everything look neat and tidy. So if you have perennials, they have already bloomed and they just have their spent stems on there, as a general rule, you can just grab all that up and just whack it. You're okay. You don't have to be super specific exactly where you trim it on the plant. Now, the rabbit. Yep, I got bunnies, people. The good thing, bad thing about having a very dense garden like this cottage garden is things can hide, including little baby bunnies. Now, do I know if the bunny, if this is where their little nest was? No, I have absolutely no idea. I just know that I have seen the bunnies in here and I have seen their evidence of them. Example A, we have the bit of honey heliopsis right here. There's 2 of them. These were beautiful and lush, and then they all of a sudden overnight turned into sticks. We're starting to get some foliage back, so yay for that. And then same thing up here at the top where you see the other cloches. They were eating those as well. So I've got some rudbeckia up here, another heliopsis that they were eating, and then I see here we have evidence that they're eating this rudbeckia as well. So we're going to cover that rudbeckia. This one's not horrible, but it definitely has been munched on. Up here beside of the Baptisia, we have another, I'm not really sure what this was, y'all. There's not much of the plant left to tell. I don't remember if this was an echinacea or a rudbeckia. You can see, I mean, eaten down to the nubs. So what we're going to do is take that wire cloche, we're going to put it on top. And then when I bought mine from Gardener Supply, I also bought these little pins. So then all I have to do is go in here and hook, you know, one part of the cage and then push it down in there. Now, if you wanted to do both sides, you can, obviously, but this just keeps the wind from knocking it over. Brenna, if she were running through, it's not going to be knocked over. And so this provides a physical barrier against those rabbits eating the plant. So what I'll do is go find all of the plants that have been nibbled or the ones that I think could be prime chomping real estate, then I will go ahead and cover them with the cloches. That is the best method of prevention that I have found, because if there is a spray, I just know myself, and I am not going to be on a regular basis, you know, out here spraying a repellent. So For me, the cloches work the best, and I just move them around depending on the season. It's the best money I ever spent. Like I said, I think you can get them basically from anywhere. These got gardener supply. I know Amazon has them, just different places. You can get them different sizes, different colors, whatever floats your boat and works in your garden. So just know that having a beautiful garden, whether it's a cottage garden, your front yard garden, whatever it is, does require a little bit of maintenance to keep it neat and tidy. Those magazine-worthy, oh, sorry, got an itch. Those magazine-worthy gardens don't just magically happen. It happens with a lot of time, patience, and this time of year, sweat. Sweat equity goes far, my friends, but the rewards, oh my, they are certainly worth it. As always, we hope you have found it fun, informative, and inspirational. If you have, we would love it if you would like and subscribe. That way you don't miss the 5 videos that we do each and every week. I'm sure we'll be back in this garden in a couple of weeks to show you how it has changed and grown in the coming days. We appreciate you. Y'all have a great day. See you next time. Bye, friends.